Good evening, you're watching Estuary News. Coming up, we head to Hornsea to take a look at its seawall with the difference. We visit a pole fitness centre in Hull to find out why it's good for you. And we visit a men's shed in Hull. And we ask your opinions about the new leader of the Labour Party. Welcome to Estuary News. I'm Emma Lingard, but first here's the news headlines.
A house which had 40 years of waste removed is gaining interest from potential buyers. The house in Cleethorpes, dubbed a DIY landfill site, was cleared in August 2014 by a specialist council team. It happened following concerns by residents. Several tonnes of rubbish were cleared. The house is set to be auctioned later this month. Dan Holland, a sales manager for the estate agent selling the property, says it's attracting a lot of attention due to its price.
I think it's an attractive property to purchase, mainly because of the location. Obviously fairly central to Cleethorpes, walking distance to the shops, good school catchment areas, so the location first and foremost is an attraction there to people, and as I've also said, the condition of the property. Guide price of £65,000. It's not very often you get a semi-detached bungalow in central Cleethorpes on the market at £65,000, and whilst it needs a lot of money spending on it, there's certainly a profit margin there for people to be had at the right price.
It may well be becoming the sport capital of the UK, but did you also know that Yorkshire knows an awful lot about cuisine? According to new statistics, the county has more Michelin-star restaurants than anywhere else outside London. The release of the 2016 Michelin Guide shows that Yorkshire has 6 Michelin stars. The book was first released in the UK in 1911. Plans have been approved for the Grimsby Town Centre Improvement Scheme. North East Lincolnshire Council will spend £1.5 million on upgrading the centre of the town, including improvements to bus stops and widening of footpaths on Osborne Street and Bethlehem Street. Footpath and highway improvements will also be made to Abbygate and further afield. Work on the scheme is likely to start in September. Days of work took place on Scunthorpe's Westcliff estate last week. Between Monday and Wednesday, the council and other agencies, including Humberside Police, took to maintenance on the estate. The aim of the days of action was to help restore community pride in the area.
The residents have been great, as they always are. There's lots of community spirit here in Westcliff. They've very actively participated. The community hub that's already established here, the Westcliff Drop-In Centre, has been fantastic in terms of participation.
That's all from me. Bye for now.
When people think of pole dancing, they'll most often think of lap dancing clubs and the sex industry. But the rise of pole fitness is aiming to counteract that image. While the sport has only recently become more mainstream, the Pole for Fitness studio in Hull has been open for over a decade. So we went along to learn more about pole fitness and how attitudes to it have changed.
Pole fitness is a sport that's gaining increasing popularity, with world championships taking place every year and aspirations of becoming an Olympic sport. In Hull, however, this is far from a recent trend, as Claire Bennett opened her pole fitness studio over a decade ago.
One of probably England's first purpose-built studios. I started off with a couple of poles in the gym, and within 6 weeks we had 4 up, and within 6 months we were able to open a studio up and do it full time. And in the early days I employed 2 staff as well as myself, and very quickly it became like the thing to do. Everybody wanted to come pole dancing. The
success hasn't always been easy to come by. Despite pole fitness focusing on skilled exercise, many people still confuse it with pole or lap dancing. In turn, this has led to pole fitness being associated with sleaze and the sex industry, something which Claire says has become clearer but still needs to be emphasised.
In the early days it was very difficult because what people wanted to do is they wanted to come pole dancing, but there was still that is it a bit seedy, is it linked to the sex industry? And what would happen is people would come and they'd hide on the corner and they wouldn't tell their friends, and then when I opened the door to go into the studio they'd come running in quick so nobody saw them. And that's really hard to promote a business when people don't want to tell people that they're coming. And I used to have friends that would come and then their friends would go out the back door while they came in the front door because they didn't want anybody to know. So in the early days, it was quite difficult to sort of get through to people that what we were doing was a legitimate form of exercise. But now the industry has moved on so much. Everybody understands that pole dancing and what happens in, say, a lap dancing club is totally different. And we empower women and men now as well through strength, flexibility and improving self-esteem and confidence.
The stigma is continuing to disappear, partly spurred on by more men beginning to take up the sport.
There are now quite a few men in the industry who are very good at what they do, and they're leaders in the industry as well. There are a few men out there who are like leading the way to show the men what to do. There's still the stigma that it's for ladies only, that will always probably take a long time for that to disappear. Because it's a very feminine style of dancing, some of them as well. But what you've found is with the influence from, say, Chinese pole and a lot of the circus stuff now, some of the tricks are becoming very much more strength-based, and some of the tricks only the men can do, or very, very strong. Very few of the women can actually get those tricks out.
Claire says it's easy to knock something like pole fitness, but it's important not to knock it until you try it.
I think just come and try it. I think you don't know if it's for you until you get here. And I've got lots of people who, in the early days, came in really definitely not thinking that they ever wanted to do this. And suddenly, they're 5 years down the line, 6 years down the line, they're doing amazing things. They're doing competitions, they're doing shows, and they've made new friends, and it's become a part of their life that they never dreamt would be there for them.
You're watching Estuary News. Still to come, we head to Waltham and an art day to raise funds for the local hospice. And we head to Hornsey to take a look at its seawall with a difference. And we ask your opinions about the new leader of the Labour Party. It's a few months now since we visited Louth's Men's Shed, a project to combat social isolation in the town, which was originally founded in Australia. It's designed to allow usually older men to share skills, pursue hobbies and provide a sense of achievement while relaxing and sharing a good old-fashioned cuppa. Well, now they're popping up around the country, and Dan Kemp has been along to Hull to hear about how they're progressing to finally have a men's shed of their own.
The impending arrival of Hull's Men's Shed is an exciting one for the men of the city, but it also has some serious objectives. Barry Cooper is the chair of the project in Hull.
It's about making life better for men in Hull area who are potentially being unwell, unemployed, want to get back into work, volunteer, do some work for themselves.
Men will not join groups like women do to talk, just to go and meet. They will go work shoulder to shoulder with somebody, and then they'll talk to people. And it gives them an opportunity to talk about themselves.
The lease is soon to be signed to allow the men to move into the new site in the city, but Barry says it'll need some refurbishing before it's ready. The group are also in need of volunteers to make sure they can hit the ground running.
The Men's Shed in Hull was set up by the trustees. I'm one of the trustees for the local community to take ownership of that, so that although we're the trustees, we would like people to come along and volunteer to take, because we've got dual roles at the moment, we're chairman, secretary and so on, and also trustees.
It's hoped that different volunteers will offer different skills. Paul is one man getting involved.
I have 2 diplomas in IT, so I share my skills for people who are as advanced on computers. You get your Silver Surfer clubs, like sort of thing like that. So people from just who don't know how to use it to be able to use emailing and Facebook and Twitter and everything else. So.
And it's about getting men in difficult social situations a way out and providing them with a focus.
It is important for men to have their own space, because at the end of the day they need to get away from domestic situations. They may be themselves just come into a situation where a family or wife has passed over, and they need to get away from the public house, the betting shop, the pizza delivery or what have you.
I think it's a good idea. It gets people out who can't get out. It's encouraging people from various ages to come and share the stories or help in various events it offers, really.
And if you have a news story you'd like the team to cover, then contact us via our social media pages or call 01472 315 553, or alternatively send an email to news@estuary.tv. Now, joining me to talk about the news from the week is Dan Kemp. Dan, what has been happening?
This is a story from the Grimsby Telegraph today, and this is that police have sealed off a street in Cleethorpes after a shooting incident.
Okay.
Sounds very serious. No one's been injured though, but inquiries are ongoing. It happened down Bentley Street in Cleethorpes around 12:30 this morning.
Okay.
12:30 a.m. And the resources were deployed to undertake the searches in the area following the address in Beacon Avenue, which was discovered with a damaged window as a result of a gunshot.
Not good. Got 30 seconds. You have to be quick.
Yeah, the final story then is that a German TV crew has been travelling to Beverley. They've been around Beverley's red light district, which
and we're talking traffic lights.
Isn't quite as I first made it sound. It's been dubbed a crazy junction by the German newspaper Bild. And the TV station ProSieben have been travelling around because there's up to 20 different traffic directions and lights that people can use. So they find
very extravagant for the company to come over. But there you go, thank you. Right, join me after the break when we head to Hornsey to look at the seawall with a difference, and we find out Grimbarian's views on the new leader of the Labour Party. Welcome back, you're watching Estuary News. Still to come, we head to Waltham and an art day to raise funds for the local hospice. And we head to Hornsey to take a look at its seawall with a difference. In the light of Jeremy Corbin being elected Labour's new leader, the MP for Islington North has been described by some media outlets as the man who will bring an end to the world, and by others as Comrade Corbin. With Grimsby being a true Labour heartland, we went to ask Grimbarians if they think Corbin is a credible leader, and this is what they had to say.
Disgusting. Absolutely. Well, he'll never ever get in. Labour's finished altogether now.
It looks like being a change, doesn't it, from what we've had? You don't know my thoughts on this. I think he's a ruddy idiot. Although one thing I do like about him, having a joined up railway.
He hates the Queen, he loves the IRA, such things as that. You know, it's terrible.
I just think it'll be unelectable.
It could be a good thing due to all the austerity we've had all these years. I think it might pave the way for solidarity between all the unions, and because in Grimsby we're on TV programmes as skint. We're like very deprived in this area, and any more cuts can have detrimental effects.
Well, you watch with all the strikes and everything now. He'd be backing all of that. Anything that's wrong, he'll back it.
It was outside, wasn't it? 200-1 last year. That's for a good reason. He's not very good at all. He's rubbish.
Ted Ford is a passionate fundraiser for local charities. In the past, he's undertaken events such as open gardens and now plans to sell some of his own art creations. And he says it's his years in the construction industry which helped him find his love of art. His passion for St Andrew's Hospice comes from the time he spent fundraising and volunteering there. We went along to meet him.
Ted Ford is a passionate fundraiser for local children's charities. In the past, he's undertaken events such as open gardens and now plans to sell off some of his own art creations. Ted says his years in the construction industry helped him find his love of art.
The amount of production that you do, and this is in a similar vein, I would imagine, and using your imagination. I don't know how much skill there is in it, but it's the desire to do it as much as anything, I would imagine.
Ted's passion for St Andrew's Hospice comes from all the time he has spent fundraising and volunteering for the charity.
I worked for the charity of the hospice since way back in 1982, when through the associated architecture with Gordon Walkley Smith, He was the chief architect in those days, and we built what is now the beaches, the bedrooms and sluice rooms with lift shaft and all that on that particular building. And I was so taken by how would you say, the courage, I suppose, of the people who attended, and their plight of, it's a shocking problem is cancer.
Ted's message is for everyone to get involved in any way possible to help a charity that's extremely close to his heart and has an extremely good cause.
It's a worthwhile charity, and I implore anybody to get involved, even if it's only by the big fish. Get some of the lottery tickets for the big fish. It all helps the hospice funds.
The Holderness Coast is the fastest eroding coastline in Northern Europe, and we often hear about sections of cliff falling into the sea. To stop this happening, towns like Withensea and Bridlington have had seawalls built. In the 90s, Hornsea had one put up, but now it's beginning to look tired, and a group of residents have come up with an idea to smarten them up. Dan Kemp went along to take a look.
It was built to protect Hornsea from the sea, but the wall needs revitalising. That's according to the Let's Go Hornsea Regeneration Group.
When I'm walking along here, because I walk my dogs here quite often, I can't see the sea because the wall becomes so high, you can't see it. And the wall is very drab, so we thought, let's jazz it up a bit and make it look good.
The team have devised a competition for people to send in pieces of art to have added to the seawall.
When we started, we didn't know if we were going to get sort of 6 or 60. I think we got well over 70 in the end of the first group of pictures. Out of those, 17 were chosen that we thought would be suitable to be able to be put onto the wall. Unfortunately, we had problems trying to get funding for this, and we tried various different grants, but in the end we got local sponsorship to start off with the first 7 to launch it. But we still have obviously a lot of other pictures now to try and find the money to get up on the wall. The big long one that's 5 panels was done by Alex Dyer, who's a local artist. And the others are mostly local. There's 1 or 2 from perhaps Hull, and some of them from people that actually stay in the caravan sites in Hornsea.
And where did the idea come from?
It stemmed from myself going to Barcelona and seeing some hoardings around a regeneration site that had been put up, and it was fabulous. It was colours everywhere, and I was taking pictures of them, and I'm thinking that's so strange to go to Barcelona and take pictures of hoardings. Why not do it over here, so people can put it on Facebook and social media sites and advertise Hornsea, as well as something nice to look at.
East Riding of Yorkshire Councillor for Hornsea and Town Mayor John Whittle is encouraging more entrants and is delighted with the efforts so far of local artists who have submitted works.
I think it's brilliant. It just shows the amount of talent we have in the town. It shows how much faith and belief, if you like, they have in the setting that they live in, and how much they've thought about it. I mean, to produce items of art like that isn't just a question of sitting down with a piece of paper, it's a question of thinking about what they're doing and making what they produce relevant to the town they live in, what Hornsea is all about, the visitors to the town, and the area of the wall itself that the artwork is going to be on.
It's all part of a wider project to develop Hornsea's South Promenade. It's hoped in time projects like this will help to develop the areas of the seafront not explored as much by tourists.
We value our seawall, obviously without that we'd all be inundated, but we felt that it'd be nice to brighten it up a little, make it look more attractive, and encourage people to walk down this section of the promenade so they can go down to see the boating compound down there and appreciate the greenery around them.
Now, joining me to talk about the news from the week is Dan Kemp. Dan, what has been happening?
Yeah, the first
You've got some breaking news, haven't you?
Yes, the first story is from Hull City Council, and this is their appeal against the SMC, which is owned by the Alam family, of course, also in Hull City. The SMC owned by the Alams, and it's been leased. Their Echo Arena has been leased from Hull City Council, as it has been since it was built at the same time as the KC Stadium back in 2001.
Yeah.
It's been obviously been in the news quite a lot over the last year or so with regard to Hull City's academy, which is going to move in, or was planned to be moving into the arena.
Okay.
They've since put a 3G pitch, which of course is in a building still owned by someone else at the end of the day, and the Hull City Council who own it have taken it to court, and they've said the decision's come out today, and they've said they're disappointed with what the court said, and this is that Hull City were within their rights to do it, even though it's not their premises.
Okay.
And the council have said this morning the facility remains an important part of the city's community sports provision, reflecting, of course, the reason why the council originally invested in it. And they're offering to continue to work with the club and the SMC to try and find a long-term solution, which is something they've been saying all along.
Yes.
And I think the Alam family had been, anyway, previously sort of unwilling to talk on it.
Okay, so again, more controversial news, isn't it?
Yeah.
Last week, we told you that Grimsby Town FC were having a member of the club taking part in a charity bike ride across the country to raise money for their Young and Rising Stars programme. Now, it seems that North Ferriby United are getting in on the action too. They completed a Macclesfield to Wembley 450-mile charity bike ride. The money was raised in memory of Frank Beaumont, who was the player-manager of Macclesfield Town and the father of Martin. The trip incorporated all of the match grounds in which Macclesfield won at during his dad's time at the club. They've raised over £1,000, which will be split between Barnsley Hospice and Cancer Research UK. Grimsby's Jack Grant wants to hit back after being knocked cold in the opening minute against Jack McGann on Saturday night. Despite the loss, he now hopes to come back bigger and stronger against future opposition and doesn't want future fights to be against easier opponents. Louth's Tony Espin has swum his way into the record books with the latest cross-channel success. It took him just under 12 hours as a member of the over-70 six-man relay team. It needs ratifying, but it should represent a world record, as Espin and his teammates are now the oldest people to complete a channel relay. That's all from me for now, and I'll be back with more sports news soon. If you have a sports story for us, then please email us on sport@estuary.tv. Give us a call on Grimsby 01472 31553, or you can find us on Twitter and Facebook. Bye for now.
That's it for tonight. Get in touch with us the usual ways. Details are on the screen. Good night.
Estuary TV weather, sponsored by Grimsby Institute for a brighter future.
Hello and welcome to Estuary TV's weather. Tuesday will be cloudy with outbreaks of rain and a few brighter spells, highs of 16 degrees. Wednesday, dry and bright with some overnight rain.
Estuary TV weather, sponsored by Grimsby Institute for a brighter future.